But let's jump into the final topic. Again, don't forget to check us out on patreon.com/MouseFilePodcast. You can be like Jake and be on a podcast. We appreciate his support and all of our other patron support, like Bill, who was on very recently, like Pat, who was on recently. We have John coming up as well. Also, shout out to everybody else who is a patron and does support us, like our guy Shane, who was on the onside kick. But let's jump into this talk. We're going to finish it strong with the Bulls-Wizards trade. Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis and a second-round pick go to the Washington Wizards, and the Bulls get Otto Porter Jr. Being in Chicago, there was a lot of hate for this trade. Ricky, I'm going to go to you as the...
In Chicago, there was a lot of hate?
People were pissed that they picked up Otto Porter because people love Bobby Portis and that Otto Porter is making that much money for the next 3 years. People were not happy with this trade in Chicago.
Not these two guys.
Not these two. We were happy.
That's the thing.
We got a Wang.
So I'm asking
We
you,
got Wang.
what was your reaction? Why do you have a positive outlook on this?
I like it because now I'm going to like it and hate it, and it's all going to depend on where our draft situation is, because now if we do what we're supposed to and lose games, like play very well, lose the game in the end, hopefully all we need is a top 3 pick, same odds. I'm even hoping just 1 or 2. Like if we miss out on Zion, we get Ja at 2. We can take him, have Ja at the 1. We figured out our 3 problem. Even if we're at 4, I mean, we'll just take a wing, or we can even reach on a Darius Garland depending on what his workout is. But yeah, I was not mad at this because now we don't have to overpay Bobby Portis. And now, like, we got something out of Jabari.
Well, and people were saying that Bobby Portis has better numbers this year, that Bobby was such a hard-nosed player, that he wanted to be in Chicago.
He wasn't going to fit in.
Well, that's the thing is, like, you look at Markkanen and Wendell Carter, where the fuck was Bobby Porter going to play? You're going to pay him $14 million to sit on the bench? Come on.
Yeah, no, he's a good, energetic player. Yeah. I love Bobby. I love what he did for the Bulls.
He's already hit his ceiling.
But yeah, he is not going to suddenly, learn how to play defense and get better. Guess what Otto Porter is? He's a wing who can play defense, who shoots above 40% from 3, who shoots above, I think it was like, what was his last year? It was like 48 from 2. Like, he's an incredibly efficient shooter. And I know that this year was kind of like a slump year for him because of all the John Wall garbage, but I just, in my heart of hearts, can't see a way that this isn't a win for this Bulls team because it's realistic. You can cry about his contract all day. Who's going to sign with the Bulls?
I don't think it's a bad contract at all, because
who's going to sign?
I'm going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
Just imagine it this way: the money that we're using on Otto Porter, that's what we would have offered for Bobby Portis. Just think of it that way.
We would have not offered.
No.
Portis
I'm not saying we would, but think of it that way. Like, okay, we got rid of Bobby. This is the money that we would have been paying. Yeah, basically, this is our free agent move. Plus, also, if you look at it, when does Otto Porter... Dave, read my computer. When does Otto Porter's contract come up?
2021.
When does Lauri Markkanen's contract come up?
2021.
They add the same. They're Otto Porter. That money's coming off the books when we have to go ahead and give it to Lauri.
Also, you can go over the luxury tax to keep Markkanen because you'll have his bird rights.
Exactly.
So
but I mean,
it doesn't
at
really
the same
matter
time,
that much.
I mean, that's going to free up for
plus
moves that maybe we want to make in the future.
If Otto plays solid, then who knows? We might want to keep him.
Who knows, indeed. Who
We've
knows
got his bird rights at that point.
Who knows if he's going to take his player op? Yeah, he will. In 2020.
Absolutely will.
And I mean, this is something where now we can get a top 3 pick, and instead of, like, of course everyone's tanking for Zion, but if we get the 2, all we got to do, actually not even 2, we just got to end in front of Phoenix, and we get Ja Morant.
Just to answer your question previous, Otto Porter last 2 years, 14 points, 6.4 boards, 1.8 assists on 50% shooting from the field, 43% shooting from 3, and 55% from 2-point.
Incredible.
Yeah, and the thing too, Ricky, going off that is, having Zion, if you're the number 1 pick, you can't go past him. You're 100% right. He's a possible transcendent player. You're going to have to figure out where he's going to play. And, having Otto Porter, that might move him to the bench. But you'll have to figure that out, and that's a problem that is good to have. You're going to have Zion Williamson. You're going to have to figure out where to play him. I don't think that's the worst problem to have. However, the fact that I still see people disrespecting Ja Morant on Twitter and saying, I don't know how good he is because Cam Payne came here and Isaiah Cannon came from here, it doesn't mean shit. I tweeted this out. Elliot Harrison, what the fuck was his name? Elliot something?
I have no idea.
And goddamn, I can't think of these guys' names because they're bums. They both were guards that came from Duke. Does it mean you're not going to take Kyrie Irving? Talent is talent. We're not just looking at these guys and being like, oh, well, look at the numbers. He's playing great. Like, yes, there are garbage guys who are not in power programs who are putting up 27 a game, but they're not Ja Morant with his explosive ability like he has. His ability to move the ball around. There's not guys that are putting up 24 and 10 each and every single night, putting up 40-point triple-doubles in Murray State. These are records that are being set. These aren't just things that are putting up against trash competition. These are guys who have actual talent going up. Yes, he might not be as good as you can see, but this is a guy that's a goddamn star. He has potential, and you could see it if you watched any highlights from him.
Yeah, and the thing I want to throw out there, in case you guys didn't see it on Twitter, I'm going through the whole thing because I'm giving this guy a shout out because it was a good one. It started with your tweet on MVP's Most Valuable Pod, saying I don't want Ja Morant because Murray State has never produced a good pro guard would be equal to saying I don't want Kyrie Irving because Frank Johnson and Elliot Williams came from Duke.
Those are the
talent
trash
is
bumps.
talent. I quoted that and said, I don't want Steph Curry because who the fuck comes out of Davidson? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No one came out of Davidson. I had to look it up, by the way. And then I got to throw a shout out at Josh Davis, who follows me on Twitter, Bulls fan. And he quoted it and said, I don't want at KD Trey 5 because who the fuck calls Kevin or who the fuck called Kevin is good at sports.
Kevin McHale.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, I don't want Kevin Durant because Kevin's
Garnett.
are bad at sports.
Kevin Garnett.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, I don't get the hate for Ja. The only worry I have as a Bulls fan is we are 2.5 games out of the first pick, which I don't think we're going to catch the Knicks. But if we win a couple more, I feel like we could be solidifying ourselves at that 4 spot.
Trey Young got to get better, and that's the only thing. Like, I don't want to fall out of the top 5. Obviously, the 3 is the money.
We got a 5 game cushion.
I know.
Kevin Youkilis.
Great.
What?
Thanks. He's naming other great Kevins.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. New York at 16 straight losses and Phoenix at 13 straight losses. I mean, what are you supposed to do against that?
We just got to hope the ping pong balls are in our favor.
Cleveland.
With Phoenix. The Suns get Suns.
I need Larry Nance to have another night like he had last night. I need Colin Sexton, same thing, but just actually win the game.
I just did the lottery and the Bulls got the first overall pick.
Does Kelvin Benjamin count?
No, it's not a Kevin. It's a Kelvin.
And he's also not good. Okay.
Yikes.
I think that it's going to be playing into the lottery and figuring out the fact that you guys have 13 wins and still aren't number one is pathetic. But
tanking, don't you love it?
They're better than us at tanking.
Yeah, they're horrible teams.
That's the thing. Do you think Otto Porter ruins
because we actually have a core.
No, I don't think Otto Porter ruins this.
No, because the Hawks have built a cushion that we might not be able to catch up to. Like we just lost to the Wizards, Dave. The Wizards. Like
and who beat us?
Think about it.
Who beat us?
It's Jabari and Bobby, but Bobby had a bad game. Think about this. This is the basketball gods keeping it even. We beat the Brooklyn Nets, who are a playoff team, and then lose to the Wizards.
But
it should have been the opposite.
Back.
I know.
He's not healthy.
I'm just saying,
also,
playoff teams I expected to lose, and then
also,
won.
I mean, Markkanen put up 30 points. He didn't put up 30 points against the Wizards. You also had Jabari's revenge game, which was weird.
He's assisting people now. Did anyone know he could do that?
Well,
No.
he just hates Jim Boylan.
Well, the thing is, and you mentioned it, is just the fact that you got to jump Phoenix because even if you're at 3 and New York and Cleveland are there, you're still going to be able to get Ja. If you land with RJ Barrett, then that's you fucked up. I mean, he's going to be a great pro. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not the right fit. Zion is one of those players you cannot pass up.
Yeah.
And some people are saying
he's fitless.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody today, and it was the discussion of I don't think Zion's that good. Or the fact that people are going to overhype Zion, and we already talked about this back in Mock Draft 2.0. We opened up with it if you want to have that discussion, and it's like it's fine if he might not be that good, but at worst he's a for sure starter. Like he's not going to be a guy that's just a bench guy. He's not going to be Markelle Fultz. He's not going to make it possibly not make it to his second contract. Ooh. He's a guy that's an athlete that we've never seen before. And yeah, he might not be able to be a number one guy. That's probably the worst thing that he might not be able to do. But he's the guy that finds a way to win. He's a guy that's going to help you defensively and help you offensively. He's a guy that's going to give you max effort. And that max effort is coming from a 6'7" player who is 285 pounds, who can jump 44 feet in the air, and is one of the fastest players on the basketball court. Like, yeah, he might not be able to shoot, but he also has great dribbling ability. He has the ability to pass, and he has an unfreakish ability to put himself in defensive positionings to stop balls from going into the bucket. Like, he has the ability to be a leader on the floor. And yeah, he might not be as good as RJ Barrett. He might never put up 24 points per game, but he can be a leader on a team that can win a championship. And that's something special for a guy who might not even be a number one scorer to be able to say that. So I think you'd be stupid to pass up Zion Williamson. Yeah, he might not be an MVP one day, but he might be, he for sure will be an all-star at some point in his career. So you can't pass that up. And again, it's just like, I kind of get people worrying a little bit about Ja Morant just coming from Murray State. It's like, again, who came from Murray State?
Campaign.
And yeah, Isaiah Cannon. But I just, it doesn't matter.
No.
Talent's talent. And you watch this kid, and not only, he's giving max effort too, just like Zion is. And he's doing his best to will this team to win every single night. And he can go upstairs.
Someone didn't get the memo.
I mean, the two that I showed you tonight were, he had the alley-oop dunk on one end where someone threw it up to him, and then on the next play, gets the rebound, dribbles it down, throws one up to somebody else. Like, you're telling me you don't want that on your team?
Give and receive.
You don't want that passing ability with Zach, with Otto now, with Lowry, with Wendell when he gets healthy next year? Like, are you crazy?
Yeah, that's a core.
For me, the biggest problem with this Bulls team is what you said the last time. Jim Boylan is going to be our head coach. That is the biggest problem. I saw another thing on Twitter I tried to find, was from Bull Scripted, where he quoted something where it was like, Garpax was, again, saying that they believe that Jim Boylan is doing the right thing. And it's like, how can you see that? The players hate him. The players cannot stand him. Jabari just had his revenge game just to get back at us.
Publicly.
Well, exactly.
Another thing, too, John Paxson did an interview with a local radio station.
Yeah, he did.
And it was very contentious, and he started going and talking about, well, the Bears got lucky in their rebuild, and, there's no reason why we couldn't get lucky. And Jim Paxson's talking that, like, the Bulls had this crazy rebuild, and, they made the right moves. And
is he saying the Bears got lucky because they traded for Mitch?
Well, no, the fact that the Khalil Mack was available.
Oh, okay.
But what I would retort to that, and John Paxson saying that, is the guy that was doing the job before Ryan Pace, the guy who traded for Khalil Mack, got fired.
Yeah.
You need to move on from the current front office. That means you're losing your job, John. Like, realize what's in front of you. You shouldn't be here. No one wants you here. And the fact that Jerry Reinsdorf and Michael Reinsdorf had their head up their ass doesn't mean the fact that you guys are doing something that the Bears did. Like, yeah, the Bears got lucky. That doesn't mean you're going to get lucky. And that doesn't mean that you guys can make the right personnel choice because you're looking at Jim Boylan straight in the face and thinking he's doing a great job.
Is he trying to tell us that Kevin Durant's going to choose us? Because that's asinine.
With money.
No, I know, exactly. But that's the only thing I can think of with him saying, well, why can't we get lucky? So Kevin Durant's coming here. I'm reading it.
I just think that John Paxson's delusional. I think that's all you can read into it, is that John Paxson's delusional and Gar Forman's delusional. Like, that's the only thing they can do. And if they keep Jim Boylan, if they keep Jim Boylan around, it's just another delusional move. And if they pass on John Morant, which I don't think they would, or if they pass on Zion Williamson, it's another delusional move. I don't think they're that dumb. If they have the number 1 pick, they're going to take Zion. If they have the number 2 pick, they're going to take John Morant, and that would be smart.
Do you think we would trade up if we didn't to get John Morant? Or do you think...
Where would they be?
Say it lands exactly how it stands. We go 4.
New York 1, Suns at 2, Cavs at 3, Bulls at 4,
think
Hawks
we
at
give
5.
The Suns real KD and question mark to move up.
Would the Suns want that, or would they say, no, we'll just take John Morant?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that if it landed this way, we would have firepower? Because I don't know if Phoenix would give up a chance at a point guard.
You'd have to probably give them an offer they couldn't refuse.
Yeah,
really.
Which I don't think we've got.
Yeah, unless they're interested in RJ Barrett. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of. Or, like, they're interested in Cam and possibly moving Devin Booker to the 1. Like, that.
Ooh,
I don't know what Phoenix is thinking at all.
Yeah.
And if you go with them for saying, like, hey, we'll give you the 4, Chris Dunn, and
I'm just thinking,
future.
Ricky mentioned trading up for a QB. Quarterback of the NBA is the point guard.
Yeah.
Would we be able to do that?
Say
it's anybody but Atlanta, or say anybody but Phoenix. Say Phoenix gets bounced and we're still out of the range. Like,
well, if you're still at 4, I still think you can get them.
Okay.
Because
I don't, only because I think Phoenix would go there, but like you said, they could.
But he's saying if Phoenix isn't a 2.
Say it gets pushed up for either New York, Cleveland, Atlanta. One of those other teams gets top 2, and we're saying at 3.
So like,
and Phoenix is 5.
Let's say this top 3 is there minus this Detroit thing that got thrown in there. Like New York, Memphis.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that...
Yeah, I think that
it's pretty much,
the
I
Bulls
guess,
get Ja.
you're saying team-based, but yes, we would. Do you think that's something that we would do as an organization? Trade up for Ja?
No. I think the Bulls
No, I think they would.
Pat.
I think it's just the team that would take. I don't think the Suns would take it because they would rather have Ja on a long-term contract rather than Chris Dunn, who's going to be expiring soon, and then 2 picks.
Dunn just
if you're giving the Grizzlies the ability to move from 2 to 4, and you're giving them a future Chris Dunn or some other player that they want, I think you could even probably just do the 2 and the 4 flip. Because really, who are the Grizzlies needing right now? They don't need John Morant. They'd probably want RJ or Cam, and you could still get that player at 4 if the Bulls are trading up to get Ja at 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's an interesting thought that kind of came by. Would we put in stock to go get that guy for?
And then would Phoenix also be giving in stock? And then would you have a bidding war to trade up?
Phoenix has a lot of young assets.
You got to think, though, and I'm going to put this into consideration. I know it was the moving from 16 to 5, and there were other pieces. The last time the Bulls moved up like that from 16 to 7, we were offering Jimmy Butler.
But that was for 3 first-rounders.
No, I know, but like...
That was Jimmy Butler for 3 first-rounders.
But
That's
I'm
different.
saying, like, if... And that was 16 to 7. This is going to be in the top 5 where I think that the asking price from the Suns would be too much. The asking price to move up would be too much.
The reason why it would be too much is because they're going for the same player. If you're not going for the same player, I don't think it would be too much.
If
because
it's any other team. If it's Atlanta, they're not taking Ja.
The last time they actually traded up was a flip very similar. Was they
LaMarcus?
They drafted LaMarcus at 2 overall, and they took Tyrese Thomas at 4. And all they did was LaMarcus for Tyrese flip, and they threw in Victor Kypra, who was a guy who was just like who expired like the next year. He was like an overseas guy who was like 40 years old or something like that. So I mean, that was just a guy that they both like different players. They just wanted to flip them. Like it could be something similar
we could
to
go back to just last year.
The Luka and Trae thing. Yeah. All Dallas did was give him a future pick because they wanted Trae Young, they wanted Luka, they gave him a future pick. Like if that's Memphis, I think Memphis does that because they don't need Ja Morant. They have Mike Conley, unless they really like Ja that much and think he's going to be the replacement player to Mike Conley.
So if you're the Bulls, are you okay giving up your 2019 and, well, we couldn't give up our 2020 because we can't give up back-to-back, so it would be 2019, 2021?
I wouldn't see a reason why not. Well, no, you
can give up the 2019 because we'd be in the 2019 draft.
So it's just like 2020, 2021 we couldn't do. Okay.
You're flipping the rights.
Yeah,
Correct.
then the flip the rights or just give the team the 2020 pick?
No,
you're flipping the rights of the 2019 pick.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
you're still
because like
if you look at Atlanta technically selected Luka Doncic.
Yeah, they still
he was selected by Luka, but they traded him.
Yeah, they had Luka Doncic, they had Carmelo Anthony, top of the world Atlanta Hawks.
But like, and with the Bulls and that's the question that goes into it too. It adds another question of if we're in a rebuild, and I know we're a different rebuild because like Zach, Markkanen, Wendell, we have a core. Like
we've got 2 guys who can score 20 plus a game.
I feel like if we trade the 2020 pick, are we basically then? Are we then expecting to make the playoffs because then we won't have a first rounder, or then do we have to make a move to try to get a 2020 first round pick? I
think that we would probably be it's the East, so there's a chance we could make the top 8 in the 8th slot, but I think we'd likely be a like 10 to 13, 10 to 14 team in the East.
When did John Paxson walk in the room? Even if you get John Morant, you're not a playoff team.
Absolutely
are.
If we stay healthy,
no.
Yes.
Who's your head coach?
Jim Boylan.
You're not a playoff
freaking
team.
Boylan.
Who's making the personal
Mark
moves?
Jackson. Mark Jackson.
If we rolled in with the starting 5 of Ja,
it would be
Zach LaVine.
It would be Ja,
Otto.
Zach, Otto.
No, I understand
Laurie,
the talent's
and
there.
Wendell.
You can't go anywhere if they don't want to play for the coach.
If they're healthy, we will win
games. It doesn't
games.
matter. I don't think so because you still have
and we have
this guy
real KD as our 6th man.
Like
True.
Do
Or do we
I'm
try
not
to
saying-
ship them?
I'm
We
not
could
saying
ship 'em, I
the
don't
talent's not there, but you really need someone to lead that locker room, and they do not trust Jim Boylan, and I don't trust the front office.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the talent's there. I'm not disagreeing with that. The talent is absolutely 100% there, and the East sucks.
That's my point more.
But
Here-
it doesn't matter because
Especially East that could be
because you have
losing.
this horrible monster.
Yep.
That's maybe too over.
That's
It's just garbage as your head coach.
Let me throw this out. What if we'll say it's the exact same way it is?
Yep.
You've got New York, Phoenix, Cleveland, and the Bulls. Let's say we can't trade up to get Ja.
Yep.
Would you be okay with the Bulls saying, hey, we're going to go the other side of it? We're going to
Back
take our
down.
pick. We're maybe going to take KD, try to move back to a team that maybe wants a Cam Reddish, and then we'll take Darius Garland. We'll move back to get a Darius Garland because we can't get up to get Ja.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible, but like
it's
as a
risky.
Bulls fan, would you be okay with that
not a
if you're
Bulls fan.
bringing
Dave, answer
in another 2020 pick?
Yeah, I'm cool with that because
That would be-
I like Otto Porter a lot more than other people do, probably. So I like him. I like Zach LaVine enough to say that he'd be at 2 still. So.
It's clear what their plan is. Again, it's Zion if they have the number 1 pick. If not, it's Ja, and then I think they're definitely going to be going after a point guard because I think Chris Dunn's run up his time and he doesn't even fit the
Well, they
age
keep-
limit outside of Otto Porter.
He's being evaluated.
I
still.
mean, yeah.
Anyways, Otto Porter, I think it was a good deal. It's
Absolutely.
pretty clear that they're going after Ja Morant in the draft.
It's a bummer to lose Bobby though.
Yeah,
Without the 1-2 punch, who knows where we'd be?
it was cool though. He's the first ever player, only ever player, to put up back-to-back 30-point games on different teams.
My favorite is the comment where Bobby was like, he tweeted at something that John Paxson said, where it's like, oh, he was a bench big that would be worth too much money. And Bobby said something, and the best response I said, Bobby, can you play the 3 or play defense? Yeah, exactly. That's what someone said
Dang.
on Twitter. Can you play the 3 or defense? You can't do either.
Bulls fans, let us know what you think of the Otto Porter trade. Again, I think if you're just thinking of, and we're not going to do anything with the cap space. And, for rebuilding teams, it is essential because you could take on bad contracts and get, younger players and picks. But also this team's kind of getting to the age of you have these players in their starting lineup where now it's time to see if they can actually play together and be successful. So you got to go out and get players like a Ja Morant to kind of fill out that starting 5 and start making that push towards
Hopefully, we're like the Kings from 2 years ago.
Hope so. But you're not going to be because Jim Boylan is going to be your head coach and Garpax is still in full force. Anyways,
Only for one more year at the worst, right?
Oh, they could sign him long term.
Please don't. Please
I'm just
don't.
saying, don't put a cap on evil.
Don't wish that juju on me, Ricky. Bobby.
they've been there for 15 years.
Yeah,
so
I
I don't think, it's not for sure written in stone. There's no
Thibodeau's
term
looking
limit
for
on
a job,
Garpax.
right?
What?
Said Thibodeau's looking for a job, right?
Yeah, there's no term limit on Garpax though, so there isn't a for sure out. Anyways, that's going to do it though for the Fast Break podcast. If you did listen, thank you so much for listening to our 8 segment monster. I think it might end up being 9. 8 segments, 6 segments, 7 segment monster of a podcast. We appreciate everybody who listens on iTunes, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, even on YouTube. If you're watching the full podcast right now on YouTube, if you're listening to the segment of the Otto Porter segment, don't forget to like it, subscribe as well. We got over 15,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys. We appreciate that. And you guys are absolutely fantastic. Also, thank you to all of our patrons. Patreon.com/mostofitpodcast is where you can become a patron. If you want to be on a podcast, talk about what you want with us for 30 minutes. That's where you can do that at the $10 range. But also, we're going to be updating it. We got some cool new stuff coming up soon on our Patreon page, updating it for you guys. So hopefully it makes it a little more incentivizing for you guys to become a patron. But thank you so much for listening. For Dave Oster, for Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. See you next time.